Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the show. Your home, your money, and our lives right now, live on YouTube, on realityradio101.com. Yeah, we're on everything.
What are you working on your broadcaster voice right
Hey,
now?
you know,
Sounds like it, right?
I was talking with Adam, and Adam is a young little genius who's started a social media company, and he's sort of heading things up for us, doing a wonderful job. For any of you who have gone on and checked our presence online, we actually have a presence, which
We're building.
hadn't had one before.
We just got to get our Google reviews down.
Well, Google reviews, Google won't allow us on Google Maps for whatever reason. We're gonna have to figure that out. It's gonna take time, but the big debate is that shouldn't we be running live on Facebook, and when we run live, we're running live anyway, shouldn't we have the technology be running also on Facebook, be running also on Instagram? And his thing is, no, you focus everybody into one channel. But I know for myself, well, first of all, I don't go on Facebook or Instagram, but if I did, I wouldn't be going on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. I wouldn't be crossing all the channels. I would just be sticking to the channel that I like.
Again,
Facebook is a lot of older people on that, so.
So are you on Facebook, huh? just asking.
Yeah, I am. I'm older.
Okay.
I don't mind
Where are
my
they-
age. You're the one that's always lying about your age.
No. So which one?
No.
No, that's
giggled
fine.
at that, hey?
It is cute. It is cute. I'll give you that. So, what one is the younger one? TikTok, I guess, eh?
TikTok,
Instagram.
TikTok and Instagram is the youngians.
they're all they are is time wasters, to be honest.
I learn a lot sometimes.
And maybe I'm
from
showing
there.
my age, but
Maybe you're showing your age, but
Maybe.
you're in the middle. You should be actually. I would guess. Shouldn't you be partway between Instagram and Facebook?
I just never got into those social things. It just, I don't know. I'm not all
I
about
never
the.
got it. I don't understand
You're
it.
right, you never got it.
I just don't understand it. Like I guess it's a way of communicating to the world what food you're eating and stuff like that. And then I'm just trying to figure out how important that really.
And why do people care?
I don't really post anything. I just, I'll post, some real estate stuff, but I don't really post any of that stuff. I go on and I look at, like, on TikTok and Instagram, a lot of people I follow are like health people, different things you can take for this element in your body. I like watch a lot of that stuff. And I actually watch.
Do you
and
follow
I know,
any of it?
And I know I knew that, and I was going to say I watch a lot of cooking videos, even though I don't cook.
Oh shoot!
I'm trying to
it
build
is.
up the,
But you enjoy watching it, not doing it.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And I understand. It's almost
I'm
like
an
sports.
observer.
It's almost like sports, right? Like those guys, they watch the sports, but they don't play it.
Yeah,
And-
or you can be
I
the
think a lot-
person that plays it and they just go on and on and on about everything. I don't want to be one of those.
No, you wouldn't be one of those because you don't play sports.
But I can, because you've
Yeah,
seen me.
yeah,
So
yeah.
don't even go there.
Actually, that's one of the times I totally fell deep. Because, in your relationship, there's always sort of little markers where you fall deeper and deeper
Or
in love.
red markers.
Little markers. And I know for ours, we had met and, we were just sort of dating. And we play with our friends. It's all about social. We get together and we play. We had football, we had baseball. So we were short one day. And you have to have so many women on this particular team that we were talking about, which was our East York Rivals team.
Oh, here
So
we
this
go.
was
It's gonna give the whole
this
story.
was big. Like this was big. These are our friends on the other team who are like we're all battling to be the best. And we were short. We didn't have enough women. So I said, well, Jackie play. Jackie says, no, I don't play. It doesn't matter. Just stand there. The girl comes out. She's one of the best hitters. She's a great catcher. I was like, what the heck is this? Anyway, so I was like, that was one time I fell deep in love. Another time that I think this is where it really started. It was when Grandma and I and you,
Here
we
we go.
went to a
David.
New Year's party with a whole bunch of West Indian people with West Indian music and that. And my grandma was winding down. And Jackie's winding down right beside her. Grandma showing Jackie how to
I
dance.
wasn't winding down. It was called trying.
It was as cute as everything because, everybody's doing what you would kind of expect to that kind of music, except for Jackie. Jackie's dance was very unique. One of the very first times ever seen moving like that to that type of music. And
Okay, enough.
I was like, what? Oh, it was so cute that she sort of let go. She knew that she was different, and she
Knew she was different.
and she just
She knew she
did
could
it.
dance.
So I'm assuming you're happy because this was before TikTok. Because
Oh yes, yes.
Oh my
This was
goodness, can you
before
imagine?
TikTok.
That would have scared. No one would have went on
Hey,
TikTok if they saw that.
you could have been a social famous.
Yeah,
but not for the right reasons.
It was cute as anything. But yeah,
All right, before you dive in, we do have an email from Hank. Hank says, "Good morning, real estate folks. I agree with Randy. I do not go to Facebook or any of that stuff. The young folks go to all that social media stuff, but most are not in the position to buy houses. So those platforms are not really appealing to us folks in our 30s, 40s, and beyond. Love the radio show. Thanks." Yeah, to me the only one that's half decent is YouTube. If you're going there for the right reason, if you're going there to actually learn how to do things, like I wouldn't recommend this to most people, but I've changed my brakes in my car and I've kind of learned it through YouTube. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty mechanical, but again, it's they have if you want to learn stuff, YouTube is probably the place to go. You just have to be careful you don't get caught up in the shorts. The shorts are kind of useless in terms of learning anything. They're just there for like. I don't know how to explain
attention
it.
span.
Yeah, well, to reduce your attention
Low
span.
attention
But
span.
what's wrong with, okay, sometimes when, let's just say, okay, I have anxiety. I have super high anxiety. And for me, I can't engage like that all the time. Sometimes I have to watch something or whatever that's just irrelevant. And I don't have to think.
The problem with shorts is it starts off that way, and then you just end up.
You just end up
Doing
sucking
this,
all your
yeah,
time,
for 2 hours.
lying there for hours and hours and hours, doing absolutely nothing, not thinking.
It's better to watch like a 5-minute show about nothing. Watch a
That's-
5-minute show and then come off.
But they
Oh my
created
goodness, I'm
it.
surrounded by info monsters.
No,
here.
they created it for people like you.
Yeah.
And that's
So
like.
I'm using it right then.
Yes, you
For
are.
them.
And that's what it is. It's like that goldfish bowl, right? It's there, and you have something to attract that goldfish for 8 seconds or so. And the shorts will attract you for, it's a very short period of time, hundreds of them. And you just totally waste your life just sitting there doing that for
But you can also
hours.
learn from
Not
it.
from a short. You're not learning anything from a
No,
short.
not. I don't
what-
even
what-
know what a short is.
Shorts like those
No,
1-minute
that's the
videos.
stuff you watch.
Oh, no, I don't.
Yes.
If you're
No,
doing,
I don't.
if you're watching doing this to get to the next
No.
video, then it's a short.
No, it's not shorts. I
No,
watch
what do you
some
do?
that are full out. They're like 10, 15 minutes about, like I told you about that thing with the cod liver oil, that we can do that thing on your knees and a bit.
That thing?
Yeah.
So you should talk to my father-in-law.
Yeah?
No, it's not cod liver oil. He uses a different oil. It's one of those oils, but he's like he believes
Put it on everything.
anything
Brush
and
your
everything.
teeth
geez, is
with
it
it.
tiger
It's a
balm?
good-
Is
it's
it
a good
tiger
eye
balm?
drop.
It's an oil. It's kerosene oil.
What?
It's an eye drop.
Hold on.
It's
You were joking me, right?
Well,
just kidding.
no, never.
Kerosene oil?
think it's
That's
kerosene
for like stoves and
It's for like the old oil lamps.
and you put. he
I don't
puts
put on.
that
I don't put on anything.
He does?
Well, I don't know if he does that anymore, but I
put it
know
on
he
your
used
That's
toes.
seeping all those chemicals.
Well, I don't know.
I have no idea. I thought it was cod liver oil.
Yes.
That's another one.
Cod liver oil is what.
But if you make a mistake and drink that, you can't go to work.
Cod liver oil?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, there's some
Oh, this
people that
goes
take
right
like
through
a
you?
spoonful every day, like once your body builds up to it. They say it's very, very good.
So, like, do we have any records of people who took cod liver oil for their whole lives, took a teaspoon and lived to
Probably,
100
but I
or
don't
something?
dig in that
But not,
deep.
I
that's
think
not,
that
that's not
would
a
be
good
their
stat.
first ad.
Not a lot of people have lived to 100.
Why?
What do you mean, why? Is this our age span is usually 80-ish years? I don't know. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. So it should help you to live longer. If you live, there's people, we have recorded things of people who smoke every day and live to 100 and something.
Yeah.
So then there should be someone who
You know
did
what it
cod
is?
liver oil.
I'll tell you what it is,
or a
though.
vegan
I'll
who
tell you
lived
what it
to
is.
100. Yeah.
They're putting certain minerals and everything in your body, and they got a healthy gut. And when you got a healthy gut, disease can't live in your body. When your gut is healthy, you don't get inflammation. Therefore, disease can't start. I believe that's what it is. And I've been, like you guys are saying, it's a waste of time, but I've been watching a lot of those videos that talk about everything stems from your gut.
Are you going to be like that
So I think-
Atkins guy who had that great diet and then he died at like 45 or something like that?
Did he?
He died young. I think he died young.
But
So-
that's what I'm saying. It's not about, it's something in particular that your body needs. And it's
I'm just saying the
missing.
Atkins guy was saying the same thing, and now he died.
Well, everybody's going to die. Anthony.
Well,
Yeah, but
you think you're living forever, Anthony?
I think the point is if you're putting
I
these
know the point. I'm
nutrients-
trying to get around the point.
Okay, well, let's hit some real estate. Let's do some mortgages, real
about
estate.
you go
Hey, I'd
first
like
this
to.
time? You
No,
never
if I
go
go
first.
first, it'll blow out all of your information with regards to what's going on with the market. So I'm going to let you guys do your ads, and then I can work around that easily. Because my information
Go
is
for it,
fulsome.
Anthony.
all right. So I have a few on the market, which but I'll start with I read this one article, or looking at this article about talking about, I guess, older women having some trouble with the rising costs of housing. Right. So
Women?
it focuses on women. Yes. So basically, the article kind of says that the rising cost of living in Canada is particularly affecting older women. There's one woman in particular, Catherine. She's a 67-year-old editor who has found the government support checks insufficient to cover her basic expenses, including rent and groceries. And again, I want to go over the whole article, but pretty much because of the rising cost, she's actually now has to have 3 roommates just to kind of get by. Yeah, so so basically, the organization this organization, Senior Women Living Together, created the organization after experiencing similar financial difficulties, and despite existing financial support, that's my article. And basically, it says the demographic group that argue faces this. I'm just started reading. So more or less, the article talks about this lady who was having a lot of issues because she had a good job when she was working. She gets has her pension, has all these things, but because the rate at which the prices have gone up, she just can't cut it anymore. So due to all these stresses and all these factors, she has to downsize, live with 3 other people, and at that point in time, you're kind of set in your ways.
You don't want to live with
Yeah, I'm
anybody
pretty sure
else.
you don't want to live with other people, especially if you're not really close to them. Like if they're friends and family who've grown up with, then okay, maybe
No.
you can. Well, I'm saying as you get older, you want to, especially if you don't have kids, you have at least other people there who can help you, and you can help them. So it's kind of maybe like a give and take type of thing. But it's not that. It's basically she has no choice, right? She has no choice. So when you don't have a choice, that's when it kind of can come to a headway, and it's not great. So unfortunately, she's having these issues, and a lot of other people, I'm sure, are in that same boat, especially with these rising costs. Because again, our cost is going up, but what we're making, especially if you're retired, is not going up as fast. Some pension plans go up with inflation, but even then, whether they're going to actually match it or not is probably not the case, especially when it's kind of running rampant like it is now. So just something to be careful about with as you're growing, as you're, I guess, living, to make sure you're putting away money, hopefully you have your house paid off, where you have that kind of buffer where even if things happen, you can, even if you have to sell your place, then downsize a little bit, you have the equity or the money there to kind of support yourself.
I think that's a really good idea. It sucks, first of all, for us to have to even head in this direction.
The living with other people, you mean?
The fact that you've worked your entire life and the promise of, because when it's a little different today than it was when we were younger. When we were younger, it was more the promise of you would work with one corporation and you'd build up, equity in that corporation, and then you would retire, and your retirement would allow you to live. When we were younger, we had the insurance people come in and say, hey, you need to build your retirement because the money that you save today is the money that you will use when you're older. And the thing is that you'll need a lot less money when you're older because you won't be as active. And nothing is further than the truth. You actually need way more money when you're older because the cost of living is ridiculous. So what happened is that we kind of lived a lie, right? First of all, to save your money through your RSPs, and that had to be done through the banks, and your RSPs would be lost. And therefore, you would be starting all over again. There would be periods of time when your RSPs get cut in half or even less, and you had to sort of start all over again. And that really did hurt. And now what we're seeing here with the senior women living together, I think the fact that they're trying to group groups together that may have more like minds, because one of the worst things that you could possibly have is that you're a senior and it costs $1,500 a month to get a room downtown Toronto, and so now you're in a rooming house with a bunch of young kids going in and out. That just couldn't be fun. So the fact that the senior women are getting together, I think that's kind of a positive, personally. And as for prices moving up fast, unfortunately, that's where we're at. The thing that surprises the heck out of me is, as Canadians, here we are with one of the fastest, we do QE, and then now we're in this position where I guess it's our fault for going out and shopping, supposedly, why the inflation has happened the way it is. And on top of being blamed for it, we can't actually, a lot of people can't afford to live. The upper middle class is now basically lower middle class, right on the cusp. People who are in the middle class or lower middle class are kind of hurting big time. And so what it calls for is, it calls for us to be a lot more aggressive. It calls for people to have multiple jobs. It calls for them to really buckle down the hatches, not buy as much as you used to be able to. Life is not as comfortable. That's where we're at. How do we get out of it? That's a good question. I don't know. That's going to be up to, I guess, the powers to be. But the part that surprises me is that as a country, I bet you if we were to have an election today, many people would be voting to keep things the way they are. And that, to me, is very, very sad. It's very, a lot of people would vote for the same government that put us into this mess, when really we should be revolting, I think, in many ways against what was comfortable for all of the G20 to do in their economies, to do this QE, build up all kinds of money at the banks, and then run inflation wild, and then now have to increase our cost of living so expensive. And what I mean by that, what's our biggest expense?
Your mortgage.
Your home. Your home is your biggest expense. And so the way they're going to bring down your smaller expenses is to make your biggest expense super, super expensive.
So you can't, even if they lower the rest, you can't buy it anyways.
You can't buy it. So it's an interesting philosophy. I think at some point it's going to become old.
It has to.
I think that we have to start looking for other ways in order to manage our economies. For example, don't do QE. Like, that would be one really good way. Don't give the government unlimited spending money and give it and have the just pocket or have the banks pocket money from this maneuver, and then possibly drive inflation up and then have to do what you're doing to us. And to me, the only sad thing about it is a lot of people do agree that actually it's not the government's fault. Many of the governments did it, so that makes it okay.
I don't know if they don't think it's the government's fault. I just think it's that they just don't think anything's going to change.
That's what I was going to say. Is the new government going to change anything?
If they don't, then you vote them out too.
I get it.
Yeah, but you've now had how much time before you vote them out, and it just continuously gets worse.
I don't know. I was shocked.
Like, what, the conservatives do anything better?
Government. See, to me, it's not a matter of if they're going to do that better. You know what it is? It's a matter of when you do this, that we kick you out. So then it sends a message. But they did this, and we voted them back in.
I didn't.
Anyways, just saying. So the thing is yeah, you're right. Maybe it does nothing, but then you send a message to the next guys too. You send a message to the next guys too, and all of a sudden they start getting the message, hey, if we do that, they're going to vote us out. Period. And they know that that's the policy of the people.
Because they're getting their...
They do care, Jack.
They're getting their money, they're getting their benefits. None of this is affecting them. None of it.
Yeah,
none of the rules they put in place does anything to them.
But the power of being in place brings them a whole bunch of money.
Let them earn their money. Give them so much pay, and then as they go through and they implement the things that they say they're going to do, add on to their income. I don't know. That was off the top of my head. That was pretty stupid.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with the last part. But what I would say is that we have to do something that makes sense. And the problem that I have is that most people will say, well, there's nothing we can do anyway, so it doesn't matter, or I only have one vote, or whatever. The truth of the matter is it's 100% up to us. So if you vote and you say, hey, you do that, we're kicking you out, and let them know, this is why we're kicking you out. Because you did QE, jacked up the interest rates, you did QE, then unfortunately caused crazy inflation, turned around and tried to blame it on us, and now you're bankrupting us to bring inflation down. We're not okay with that, you're gone, period. And then don't let them get a vote. The only vote is that they're going to get some votes from people who got some free programs, because they're going to pick up those votes because they bought them. But the rest of us, we're kicking them out. And then if we were to do that, yeah, I agree. It's not going to send a message this time, but over time it sends a message. And I just don't feel that we're willing to do that, because we're too divided, because they have some great programs. Like they just gave out free dental to a bunch of people. You think those people are going to vote them out?
What percentage of people own, do you know, I'm not sure if you know this offhand, like owning versus renting?
Yeah, you know what? I do know, but I forgot. That's part of getting
Sorry,
old.
what was that?
So you don't know.
Okay, yeah. Let's just go with that answer right now. But if you see, I don't have a computer. You have one right there. Punch it in. I'm sure it'll be a quick come up. But definitely the good thing about people who own is actually almost half of them don't have a mortgage.
It was a couple years, it was where 69% of baby boomers owned their homes outright at one point. I would be very curious to know what that number is now, because I believe that a lot of them took money out to give their kids. There's no way these young kids in their 20s have, you know what I mean, like, and their 30s, that kind of money. How do you save that kind of money when you're paying the rent? You still got all the other costs. It's hard. Yeah. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Like, but I don't know how, I don't know how any of that's ever going to change. It's just people are becoming more depressed because now they don't even have the money to go and have a release to go on vacation, to do anything. And that's why I said, scrolling on TikTok is okay. That's a vacation.
Yeah, it's a vacation. So you're feeling good after you finish that?
Oh,
and
yeah.
revitalated? You want to go out and do work and everything?
Whoa, yeah.
But you just don't do it, right?
So, before World War III breaks out here.
Are you serious right now? You want me to poke your eye out?
I'm just asking. Because if you say it's good for you, then what are the benefits?
I forgot that you're the worker and I'm a stay-at-home
No,
person.
what are the benefits? If it's good for you, what are the benefits?
It relaxes my mind a little bit and try to relax my body because...
How many hours of
you're not-
relaxation do you need?
Do you need to talk that much that you can't let somebody
It's a
finish?
question.
Huh?
It's a question.
But I didn't finish the first question
Because
there,
you're
bucko.
justifying stuff that is not justifiable.
I think when you have a stressful life, it is okay to do nothing sometimes.
Sure.
It is okay to watch a stupid show that doesn't give you anything but a lip.
One show, yes.
What is the
But how
point of me
about-
trying to talk?
Well,
Go ahead.
No, so one show, yeah, okay, but we're not talking about that. What Anthony was talking about is that you keep watching those shows.
So anyways,
and that is
here's my story.
is the problem. And because you're addicted to it, you don't want to actually face it, and you get mad when people think.
I am
and
not
then you
mad.
say,
You're
well, it's
not
good
letting
for
me.
you.
You're asking a question and then you're answering it instead of listening to me.
No, I'm
That's what
challenging-
is like annoying.
Challenging certain things that you say, like it's good for you. Okay, great. What
Go
are the
on and look what they say. Sometimes your brain needs downtime, man. I know you don't, but you're actually a very special person.
Okay, fine. So when is the uptime then? You know, that's fine. So you need downtime. So when do you need uptime?
When you have to work, like I don't get it. What do you mean? Like I don't need to go to bed listening to educational stuff.
No, if you stop doing the stuff you're doing, you'll realize what the uptime
No, I'm going to
means,
become.
and then
no.
you'll be able
I'm
to
going to
understand
become
where
like
we're coming
you,
from.
a sour old puss, and I don't want that.
Okay, so back to the numbers.
I am not into that, people. I don't want to become this stress thing.
So, for owning versus renting, in the U.S. it seems to be 65-35 own to rent, and in Ontario it's 68, I guess 32. So I guess the majority
Not bad.
the majority are owning. So I guess as Randy is saying, if all the owners, people who own homes, but again, if you own your home outright, then maybe you don't really care so much about these inflation things as much because you have the income maybe, but yeah. So but if all the homeowners did kind of, I guess, revolt with the government, maybe there could be a change, but.
However,
That's not
it
bad
doesn't.
numbers,
It doesn't
so what do you
have to
guys
be.
think?
It doesn't. Like really. What do you guys think? No.
Lord help me.
Yeah, please help her, Lord. So it doesn't have to be just homeowners. Remember, the renters are experiencing inflation beyond. Like, I think they're getting it worse because the homeowners are at least having an advantage in terms of equity growth.
Saving, yeah.
But renters are getting nothing, but they're paying these astronomical fees. I think if you were to go back 10 years, what it costs for a room is what it costs for a home almost.
Oh, I know.
It almost seems that way. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better. So
crazy,
I think the renters should be revolting as well. I think it's
Yeah.
worse on them, personally.
I met this lady who's a professional, and she moved from Etobicoke to Markham because she got transferred in her company up there. That was about a year ago I met her, so I'm sure it's even more rent now. But she was renting a bedroom. She did have her own bathroom, but she shared everything else in the house with, it was an older gentleman and his son, and she was paying $1,200 a month for that, and she just said, like, it's sometimes a living hell because you're living with other people. They don't clean up after themselves. They don't this, like, it's tough, right? So people do have to go into that, but when you do, really make sure that the people that you're going to go and share the living space with they're like minds.
That's going to be a
Yeah,
tough
it's
one.
hard to do that until you actually live with somebody.
It's
Like,
I would
even-
say it's impossible.
Yeah, 'cause-
Anyways, even if you do have like minds, you're not going to cross all.
But even
the time.
people who are like spouses, like from
Yeah.
going from this like living apart, living together, that's a big jump.
Yep.
And you love each other.
and you love each other, and you're committing your
Yeah.
whole lives
Yeah.
together, and one of them could be stuck on TikTok and not even know. Like they couldn't know, and they
And
actually will say
one
it's
could
good
be
for them.
so stressed out, just constantly learning 24/7 that it drives the other one crazy.
Well, constantly learning is probably better than on TikTok. I'm just saying. But anyways, I digress.
But it's not because you're overworking your brain, man.
You're overworking your brain.
Anywho, we have a few emails.
You don't
We have
want to stretch that muscle.
We have some from earlier with mostly pictures. I might come back to those a bit after. But again, we're on radio here. So, and we're still working on our
Technology.
Thank you.
Stack.
So,
So hold on. So I got to interrupt you for a second. So you two, who's all about educating
Sorry, you
yourselves,
didn't want anybody
See, I
interrupting
cannot
you.
talk.
You didn't want anybody interrupting
But
you,
at
and
least
now you're
no.
interrupting.
And technically, I was talking
You
first.
interrupted when you asked me something. This is different.
But you still interrupted
These
me.
two people here are all about not wasting your brain power, and you haven't figured out how to get the pictures up yet for people to see it.
That's what you interrupted.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
fair enough.
It's a bit of a stretch, but okay. Anyways, from Jody. Jody says, vote them out. That's the subject. Hey, Randy is right on regarding the idiotic people of this country. They vote party lines. If liberal, they will vote liberal, even if they end up living in a garbage can. Stop it, people. Look at what this current government is doing to us. It is not good at all. Get rid of them. I kind of agree. I think that's kind of idiotic for people that's, I'm a liberal, or in the U.S., I'm a Democrat versus a Republican, so I'm always going to vote that, even if I don't agree with what they're saying right now. Is this? I'm a Democrat. My parents are Democrats. My uncle was Republican. Whatever it is, and you just vote blindly, which is pretty ridiculous, especially if you're not getting the things that you want to get. And I think that they know this as well, like the politicians. So that's kind of part of the reason why they don't change whatever the issue is, because they know what they have their base of. Whatever, 40%, and then also all they have to do is appeal to that middle 5% a little bit to get in, right? So it's as a collective, we are, to be blunt, pretty just dumb, because we kind of let them do this to us over and over again and not change. Like, it's just pretty ridiculous.
I'm going to
He's
grab
gonna
the
elaborate on that.
opposite side of that. I'm going to say that I definitely understand how you can vote party lines for a period of your life, but I do think that there's a time when it needs to stop, and I do understand, because there's a big difference between the fundamental principles of the Liberal Party and the fundamental principles of the Conservative Party. The Conservative Party has been moving more and more to the liberal side of the fence, and the Liberals have been moving more and more to the NDP side of the fence. And therefore, what's happened is that for those of us that have these particular principles in mind, we have been shoved out of the Liberal Party and into the Conservative Party in terms of our beliefs. And so that's a pretty interesting thing, and I do understand sort of sitting on party lines. Although I do side with Anthony that even though I may do that, it is not right to do. It is not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to make people accountable for their decisions. So if I'm a stark liberal and I've got a liberal government that during a time when we have an 8% inflation rate and they're just about to try to bankrupt us with incredible rate hikes, and then you go to a G7 meeting and the whole thing is on climate change, something that you know that you can't do anything about, and you're trying to
that's
pretend
gonna hit some nerves
he
there.
he can't do nothing about it. He's gonna live and die, and the climate's gonna be doing its own thing. He can't do nothing about it. But the inflation he could have done something about, doesn't talk about that. Talks about how he's going to save the birds and the bees and the trees and save us all from that and tax us with carbon tax. That's insane, but that's what our government did. And in that case, yes, even though we may be liberals, we need to vote that out. We can't encourage that kind of behavior. And at that point, I don't know, you send your vote where you believe it should go, whether it be to the NDP, the Green Party, the Conservatives, wherever you think it should be.
And it's like you're on a pendulum. A few weeks ago, you were being pitchforked out of town. Now you're the people. You're the.
Oh, I get it back and forth. On Tuesday, I think every email I got was a hater email.
Yeah, he came home and he said,
I loved it.
Damn, I got beaten up
I
tonight.
got beat up so bad, and I loved it. And I stand firmly behind what I believed in. But anyways,
He likes arguing.
Anyways, we have a couple more. So I'm going to read the next two emails. They're kind of on the similar kind of train of thought. This is from Anne. Anne says, Randy, good take on the voting ideas. Watch out, politicians. You screw up for us, you are out. It doesn't matter what party. This is all crap. And then from Tom says, finally a radio show host who states the truth. Get rid of these clowns. Social programs, not all, are ruining this country. Work and pay for your own crap. Our taxes are screwing us. Get rid of these clowns. Listen to Randy on this. He did emphasize on this.
Yeah. So Tom's been around watching the show because he said it.
All right, so we have two more. One from Helga. Subject line is Randy with a question mark. Hey Jackie, in your defense, how many videos and other crap does Randy watch during a day? Does he? How long does he watch? Most men are addicted to that crap online.
Oh, how long?
Yes, a lot.
24/7, Helga, because he goes to bed, and now I force him to wear the headphones because I can't sleep with that noise. So you come to the office.
Not sleeping anyways.
You come to the office, and that's all you hear playing in the background. And I used to be able to multitask like that, but I can't anymore. I can't even think now. I got to be focused on the thing I'm doing. So it is really 24/7. He has it going. Not kidding you. The first thing he does when he wakes up in the morning is wakes up his computer and starts the videos. And it's all real estate videos and mortgage stuff. Like that's all he watches.
The last email, I think you're like this one, Randy, or maybe not. It's from Charlie. Charlie says, "Holy crap! Did Randy take smarting pills today? He's really making sense today." Renters revolt.
Sorry.
I agree. These people that are renting rooms to us, poor a-holes, are getting rich. Screw them. So I think.
Are they getting rich though?
Are they getting rich though? Yeah, but I understand where Charlie's coming from.
Well, if you have a house, like I remember when I was younger, a house on our street, the lady would rent out. Like it was a 4-bedroom house. She'd rent out 3 bedrooms. She rented out the chair. She rented out the basement.
The chair?
She
What do you mean
She
the
literally
chair?
rented out. There was a sofa in the living room. Somebody slept there. So, I'm not sure what she was renting it for. But
Wow.
if you're renting, if you're like we're saying now, right now we're renting rooms for like let's say $900. It's called $1,000. If you have 6 of those, that's $6,000. If you're renting out a couch for $500. They're again, you can be making some decent money doing that, pay off your rent, and then have some extra money as well.
Well, that was probably her income, right?
I think so. At the time,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, but no, I hear you. Some people are gouging, other people, and then some people give you a total slum to live in.
But is it really gouging though? If that's the price everywhere?
That's what I'm saying. But I guess some people would argue as long as you keep within that price, it's never going to change. But I do know, I do have some people that I've rented out their places for, and they've been very reasonable with the rent, because sometimes when you're reasonable with the rent, you give people a nice place, they treat it like it's their own.
Some people.
Yeah, that's what I said, some. I never said, trust me.
So in giving the low price, you're really
Not
giving
low, not
lower price. Reasonable is the word you use, which is the lower price. So in giving the lower price, you're trying to attract more people, so you can try to choose that person who is going to treat that home as their own. Not very many people have that ability to do that. It would be a small section of the population. But I did want to say, Charlie, thank you very much for your email.
We need to read this email.
Okay.
Would you like me to read it for you?
I can go with it.
Charlie, thank you very much for the Smart Pills comment. Helga, how long do I listen? Yes, I do listen to it a lot.
All the time.
All the time. And I think that's the only way that I'd be able to come onto the shows and bring you guys some interesting content.
That's true.
Is to be full of content.
You're
So
pretty knowledgeable. I'll
do
give you
not-
that.
Yeah, I typically do not need to prepare for the shows anymore, but I'm preparing for them constantly because I'm up to date with everything that's happening. The truth with the social programs, I 100% agree. I think there are some social programs that add value, but they all need, I think in a lot of cases, we talked about contribution on one of the shows, and in the social programs, the people are not contributing to anything, so they need to add a contribution part to it. You shouldn't just have it, like they're saying, as a right. It should be something that you earn Okay, just like you're born. You as a baby, yes, your parents are taking good care of you. But the thing that they have to do in order to take care of you, they have to the mother has to make sure that she's eating properly, or you won't get the proper nutrition. So there's a lot behind it. So you have the people contribute into that, and that's the problem I think we're missing with social programs, is that the people who are getting them don't have any contribution that they have to make. And therefore it becomes just a free gift, and therefore what happens is you're actually rewarding them for not contributing, and if they're being rewarded for not contributing, you're ruining a society.
And that's a very
my
easy
take.
change too,
And
that they can make.
It's an easy change if you're not a social warrior. If you're a social warrior, you want everybody to get everything for free, and then you're on that kick, and you're
No,
actually,
you don't want everybody to get everything for free, because we're out there and we're working hard.
Yeah.
People think real estate's
But
not
you-
hard
you-
work. Let me finish talking, please. But it is, and the government takes half our money. So they're not rewarding us, they're taking more, and they're giving to people that don't even want to work in most cases.
Yeah, so we're not on a social program. If you're on a social program, it's very different. You're right. With the rest of the society, they do hit them hard in many cases.
So that they can
and-
give other people more.
And Jenny, thank you, voting them out. I think that's the only voice that we really have. Like what Jackie's saying, making their incomes associated to that. Their incomes don't mean anything. Once they get into power, the connections that they make, they're going to be rich for the rest of their lives. So their incomes mean nothing.
And they get a good pension too.
Yeah, and so
we're
they
paying
are
them
set
even
for
after
life.
they're gone.
They're set for life. But the point being is, I think the responsibility needs to be back on our vote. And if we talk to our children and we talk to our neighbors and that, and we have our difference of views, and we can still love and respect each other even though we have our different point of views, we put that out there. So then we start to know the people who are voting for these social programs that are killing us.
You done?
Hi, Randy. I think I finally made it. I got my first semi-hate mail.
Anthony?
Yes, you did.
Oh, man.
So subject line for Anthony. Anthony, why are you a liberal/Democrat? For what reason? You are a man of color, correct? What has the Liberal Party ever done for you? Conservatives have always traditionally done more for minorities than liberals. Unless you are a black, transgender man with a sexual desire for animals and want to save the worms.
Which he is.
Well,
Who was that?
that was from Tina.
Ooh, Tina.
Tina,
Oh,
so-
she hit me hard on Tuesday.
She's coming for both of us, huh?
Oh,
Well,
she got a mean
Go
spirit.
Tina.
to be honest, I don't consider myself. I probably would lean, I guess, more liberal, I guess. But I to be honest, I don't trust any of them. I think they're all full of crap. I don't take anything they say as truth or gospel. I just think the whole system is, I wouldn't say rigged, but it's not for us. It's just basically, once you get in, I believe your next thing is not what's best for the people. It's how do I stay in. So maybe I'm a bit what's the word, shaded or diluted, but I'm not for liberals, for Democrats. I just think the whole thing is just crap, to be honest. But yeah, so that's my take, Tina. So I don't think I'm transgender yet. You can ask my wife, but time will tell. You never know. Maybe in a few years I'll come out.
Knowing your wife, she likes a joke, she'll say, yes, he is.
Yeah.
I was keeping it a secret.
Interesting. So, let's hit the marketplace. May is over. June is now here, so we are officially in the summer months. For those of you who do not follow us, we do have a show Tuesday night at 9:30 where it's just me going on myself, so I don't have my wife to tease during those shows. And we do this show every 11, we try to do it every Saturday from 11 till noon. Join us. And for those of you who have been around, you know, because you've listened to us often enough. There's about 6,500 of you that listen to us every week. And you know that the summer months traditionally are the low months of the year in terms of the average price. So it's the best time to kind of buy a home, the worst time to sell your home. Okay, but the last 2 years in a row, everything reversed. It turned out that the spring was the bad time to sell your home, and it was a good time to buy. And the summer was the good period, and it was the bad time to buy and the good time to sell. So quite interesting. This year, what happened is our spring is on fire, was on fire. It continued to grow each and every month, to the point where this month, Anthony, the difference between 153, 196
Around
is
40
what,
grand.
40,000?
Around 40,000,
something.
yeah.
So we're looking at about a $40,000 increase. And then, so
From
from the
when?
year
Sorry?
137 to now
43,000. 43,000 actually.
43?
Yeah, because
So
153 went to
is this
96.
April to May?
And that's April to May. And so from January, we were at 1037, and now we're at 1196. So we're almost at 1.2. So that's 170,000, roughly speaking. About 170,000, 160,000, let's call it, $1,000 has been the increase in the average price this year alone. In the eye of the storm, where we started off with an absolutely horrendous time, double-digit negative increases, we are seeing now that the prices have increased almost 160,000. And some people are even saying that the prices are going to increase to where we left off last year. Now, where we are now is where we were last year. So we're basically balancing even. But remember, May of last year was horrible, right? It started off with January last year being at 1.25 roughly, then 1.34, and then almost 3 even in March. So those 3 years, then it went down in April to 1.25, and then it went down in May to 1.21. And so we are only about $15,000 off of the mark from last year, May. But last May was that declining period. And we have sort of ramped back up to May. Now, if we can roll over to April and then to March and to February and get those increases in, we're going to be right back to where we were before all of this started. So what that tells me, and I don't believe that's going to happen, okay, because we got a long way to go, because remember, we started the peak with 1.33 roughly million. And we're at 1.2 almost million right now. So we're about $130,000 away from the peak. And the market seems to be going up. But the summer months usually is a lower pressure on prices. One of the things to keep in mind, like, is the market going to continue to go up? And typically in the summer months, the market starts to decline, and we've been seeing declining coming around the edges. So the Toronto area is still increasing in price, but the surrounding areas are actually not keeping pace at the same rate, with the exception of Durham, okay? Durham is on fire, and so is Eastern Toronto, on fire, okay? So let's take a look at some of these numbers.
Especially if you have a income space in your home.
Oh, yes.
Forget it, like,
so,
it's nuts.
Yeah, so if we were to look strictly at central Toronto, okay, so we're not going to grab the surrounding areas, the GTA, we're just going to look simply at central Toronto. What we're looking at, what number I like to look at to see the activity, the pace, the aggressiveness of the marketplace is the average sales to listing ratio. Okay, the average sales to listing ratio is for Eastern Toronto, or for Toronto as a whole, on average is 104%, which means that if a property is listed at $100, it sells for $104. Okay, so the aggressiveness of the marketplace. So Toronto is at 104%. Toronto West is keeping pace with that at 104%, but Toronto Central is at 102%. Toronto East is at 111%, just showing you how much more on fire the eastern part of Toronto is versus the rest of Toronto. But why is that? Why would the
You
eastern
get
part
more home for your buck.
more home for your buck? It's the lowest priced area with the proximity to the center of Toronto. So that's why that area is tight. And guess where Durham region is connected to? The eastern part of Toronto. So it would make sense that Durham region would also be on fire. Its average is 108. And then we're looking at Oshawa being at 111, one of the cheapest places with that kind of proximity to Toronto to live is on fire
Which
at
is
100.
not as cheap anymore.
Which is not as cheap. So you got Oshawa and you got Ajax. Oshawa at 111% and Ajax at 110%. So those are the parts that are really on fire. I wanted to make a special mention to Markham, which is at 113%. I feel sorry for anybody who's looking to buy in Markham right now. But the summer months should slow that down. We will see. Something that I found was a little bit interesting was that the average price, the average selling home, the most commonly sold price point is the $1 million to 1.25 and the 1.25 to 1.5. So basically the homes that are selling the most in the detached range is from $1 million to $1.5 million. And then when we move to semi-detaches, it drops down from the 900,000 to $1.25 million. And the same thing for attached rows. They're selling mainly in that price point. And then the townhouses have dropped down from 700,000 to 800,000 is the most common price point.
How's that a drop? I'm sorry.
From 700,000 to 900,000 for townhouses, and condos are actually 500,000 to 700,000. Is the average pricing of the properties that have sold year to date in those price
Basically, what he's saying is that the prices he's giving you is like the most houses have sold in that price range for those type of properties.
Okay.
Right on. And so that
Sometimes you do need somebody to explain what he's saying.
yeah, maybe I'm going a little too fast for
Yeah.
myself, but I do want to cram this in a short period of time, and you guys had wasted a lot of time with stuff.
I offered for you to go first.
Yes, but that would also take up the hour. So sales at 24.7% plus, which is really kind of miraculous that sales have actually grown that much in this environment. Now, typically speaking, it's just the 1 month off. So the number of sales prior to May. So May was a little over 9,000. April was around 7,500 sales, and March it was 6,800 sales. February is like 4,700.
Just to jump in here.
sales.
So we're probably gonna talk about this a bit later, but sales have gone up, or I think it's about 24%, 24.7%. But new listings have gone down by 18.7%, which is again a lot of pressure on the pricing because again, there's more houses are being sold, less are being offered, right? So that's just going to drive the prices up, which is why our sales to listing prices probably gone higher.
Which is what's been around for years. Supply and demand drives everything.
Right, and so as Anthony said, sales have gone up 24%. New listings are down 18.7%, like you said. And active listings, the number of inventory left over is down almost 24%, almost 23.1%. Active listings are down. So even the buyers, for what they could see versus last year, they're down a quarter of the inventory. So there's really not a lot to even choose from, which makes it very difficult for buyers when they don't have choices. And so that in itself is really what is the thing that is holding the market back a little bit. So the last thing that I guess I'll touch on before we move it over is what is happening. People are talking about this coming on the 7th. I believe it is. The Bank of Canada is going to be making the announcement of the interest rates, and our producer says enough of the Bank of Canada, but we can't have enough. They are the people driving right now the talk within the industry, because what they do drastically affects the lives of Canadians. And so what we're seeing is that inflation numbers have driven up again. And real GDP growth has also gone up. And that's not the direction the Bank of Canada wants to see things go in. And so there is a strong pressure for them to reduce that price. To reduce these numbers by increasing the interest rate. Now, and they have their mandate, so they have to kind of try to follow keeping the inflation lower. And if inflation has turned a corner and started going the other way, it's hard for them to not pay attention to that. So we're going to see how they react to that on the 7th. But the other side to it is that we know that the banks are actually holding back a lot of homes that would normally be under power of sale. So that means that their basket of inventory is not as stable as it's supposed to be. And so, and this is because they're raising the interest rate, so people can't afford their mortgages. So the banks are stuck with these people who can't afford their mortgages, and they're giving them breaks. The last person that I heard from one of the shows, the client got a 3-month deferral. So they didn't have to pay their mortgage for 3 months because they couldn't afford to. So this is a bad state of mortgage portfolios for banks, and we're going to see how the Bank of Canada, because they have to also try to keep the financial institutions liquid, and if they are destroying their portfolio of inventory this much, that can cause some devastating issues in the future.
And your friend Jason there chimed in and texted me and said the brain doesn't need downtime.
Before we, I guess,
Thanks, Jason.
He's logical.
close out, I guess we can go over some of these emails from earlier. We have one just from Eric who says, hello all, enjoying the real estate show. Thank you very much, Eric. And we had a few emails earlier with pictures. I'll try to describe them before we head off. One was from Monica, subject line, the truth. Here she's talking about basically how home prices, how they're seen by different people. So when you're selling your home, by you, your home looks like it looks huge.
Taj Mahal.
The buyer sees it a bit smaller, like doesn't really see it the way you see it. The bank loan or the bankers see it even like half the size when you're trying to get your loan money. The insurance evaluators see it as a tent when they try to, I guess, replace it. And the appraisal district sees it as a colossal mansion, right, when they're doing your taxes. So this was a picture from them. I'm not sure, you probably can't see that, but c'est la vie.
Yeah, at some point you guys will get that down.
From Patty, this is early in the show when Jackie was talking about the gut health. She has a picture of what looks like some person with tar all over them.
And that was for Randy. Randy oiling up with tar.
This one for
Yeah, this one's crazy.
This one says, hello to Randy, Jack, and Anthony. We see that Randy is bald, and there's a picture with a bald man. That's a meme. It says, why do bald men have holes in their pockets? So they can run their fingers through their hair.
Ouch. Who's that?
That was from,
Dan?
that's from Dan.
Oh, we have to censor him.
And the last one is earlier in the show, we're talking about Jackie with her trying to whine. And there's a nice picture of a lady in the street, I
Trying
guess,
to
doing
wind
her
down.
best impression of Jackie
I
whining.
probably look like that too.
Yeah, I think that is
Yeah.
that is you.
Anyways, ladies and gents, thank you for joining us again
Guys,
this week.
YouTube, go to YouTube, subscribe so that other people can see our videos and learn all
And
this.
to get to YouTube, you have to go to Your Team Pros. You'll find us there. You can find the show we did today, as well as all the shows, or most of the shows we've done in the past. If you have any emails, if you have any questions during the week, feel free to send us an email at onair@yourteam.pro. And as always, it's been your home, your money, and our lives on realradio101.com. Have a great
Bye
weekend.
for
Bye for
now.
now.
for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101.